Hey everyone, my name's Patrick Gray and this is a Risky Biz product demo. The idea is we get one of our sponsors along to show off their technology. It's a bit of a show and tell sort of situation. And joining me now is Andrew Morris, who is the founder and CEO, I believe, of GreyNoise. Is that right?
Indeed. Andrew Morris, the founder and CEO of GreyNoise, and I am very glad to be here as always.
Now, look, let me just give listeners, viewers, a quick rundown on what GreyNoise actually does. Essentially, you operate a global network of sensors, kind of like honeypots, but it's a responsive network of sensors that give you guys a lot of insight into mass scanning and exploitation activity on the internet. And this sort of intelligence in real time can be very useful to your customers. And you're going to walk us through how people use the product, you know, what some of the use cases are, and just sort of show it off. So, I mean, how did I do with a basic description of GreyNoise there?
You got it. Perfect. I mean, basically running honeypots is painful. It's really hard. Not a lot of people can do it or are willing to do it or know how to do it. And so we run thousands of them out on the internet for you, and you can use them to solve for basically 3 use cases. And I can delve into those right now. So essentially, the 3 use cases that people use for GreyNoise the most, and what I've got pulled up here in front of you is our visualizer. Almost everything that I show you is accessible to all free public users, whether you create an account or not. Some functionality is gated behind a wall, or at least behind a sign-up wall, but that's just for us to prevent abuse. So the first use case for GreyNoise is answering the question, is this thing hitting everybody or is it just hitting me? Right? Do I care about this, or is this part of just some opportunistic scanning, internet background noise? Because I only have so many hours in the day as a security analyst, and I need to figure out the stuff that affects me the most. So,
a SSH brute forcing campaign targeting just you is probably something you want to look into. An SSH brute forcing campaign that's hitting, 50,000 people is less interesting.
Exactly, precisely. You only have so many hours in the day. You need to focus on the things that are only hitting you specifically. So let's start by just seeing all the IPs that GreyNoise have seen today. So I'm going to just run, this is GNQL, stands for the GreyNoise query language. So I'm going to just say, hey, in the last 1 day, how many IPs have we seen scanning, crawling, attacking the internet? Today it's 730,000, which is relatively high, but that's because there's a noise storm going on at the moment. And so now we can just basically see, all right, this is a high level of all the IPs that we're seeing in GreyNoise over the last day, and some aggregates over here on the left-hand side. Now, just some very simple basics on navigating this. Anything that I see here is clickable, and it adds and it drills down into that facet. So maybe I only want to see the things that GreyNoise is seeing today, but that are scanning and crawling the internet from Iran. So I can click that button here, and it just automatically adds that facet here. That makes it a lot easier to really quickly jump around the web interface. Maybe I only want to see the things that GreyNoise thinks are bad, because now not everything that scans the internet is malicious. A port scan is not an attack, right? So maybe I only want to see the things that are bad. So now I've built this query in the last day. How many malicious or compromised devices have we seen from Iran? I can drill into any of these and click into them and see all of this metadata about who they are and what we've seen them doing. So let's say you're starting with an alert. An alert has been raised, you're a security analyst, something weird's going on, or you've got to investigate an IP address, right? So I'm just going to grab an IP address and I'm going to just punch it straight into this web interface right here. So you can see this IP address actually came back as benign, right? Which is to say it's not a bad guy. This is an IP address that is bright green, if you're fortunate to not be colorblind, and it is also classified as benign. We can see here that the reason that it's benign is that it's actually been attributed to Census. Census is a company that scans and crawls the internet. They're not up to no good. They're just trying to monitor everybody's attack surface. So great. Now, as a security analyst, I know I can really, really easily ignore this thing and I could just move on, right? So now let's take another IP address and let's look that up. So I'm going to look up another one. Now we can see here the results are different. This time it's bright red and it's been classified as malicious. Why is it malicious though? Well, it's malicious because we can see it's been scanning and crawling our honeypot sensors for open proxies. And we can also see that it's probing for the new Cisco iOS XE vulnerability, which means if I'm running Cisco iOS XE, I might want to look at that one a little bit further, right? Now, it is important to classify in this case that this is an attack that's hitting everybody on the internet. So that means that I can sub-bucket it into, well, we maybe care, but we maybe don't care because it's also hitting everybody on the whole internet. It's not a targeted attack.
Well, I think, yeah, it becomes more of a sort of bunch of if statements there, right? Like, are we running this stack that they're focused on? Because an actor like this, right, like who's looking for open proxies, they're going to be using those proxies to do no good, naughty things. Let's be honest. And if they've also got some Cisco bugs they're using, they're going to be looking to turn those Cisco devices into open proxies for them. Or maybe not open proxies, but their proxies. And yeah, I mean, you could very quickly understand whether or not this is something you're going to have to worry about based on exactly what they're targeting. But you've got you understand the rough shape of what's going on very, very quickly, which is, useful.
Exactly. And so now here, this is a paid feature, but in case you need to drill in a little bit more on the time series of things, you can actually drill in here and we can see exactly when these different things occurred, right? So this helps you get a little bit better understanding of the pattern of life of what we actually saw over time. So this is something that really seems to matter more to security analysts who are responding to things in tickets and a little bit less so the security researcher. And so that's one of the reasons why this is a paid feature.
Well, and also I understand that one of the reasons you built that feature is because some of your customers are telcos and they want to be able to spot abuse on their own networks, and the IPs are dynamic. So they need to be able to go back and like see, yeah, exactly.
It's not
the history
enough
of that IP
for us
over
to
time.
just say something's bad. We're going to also have to say when we saw the bad thing occurring so that people behind huge networks are better able to correlate it with their internal IPs. That's exactly right.
Yeah. They need to be able to match it to a subscriber or an account, basically. So they can kick them, they can yeet them into the sun and ban them, hopefully, from coming back. But yeah.
Exactly. Now, one thing I also really want to point out is that all the functionality that I'm showing you right now is also natively available in our command line. This exact same query language is available through our command line. It's also available in a Python API, in a REST API, and we integrate with literally everything under the sun. So everything that I'm showing you here right now is also drivable by the command line, whether it's that first GNQL query or it's, I'm trying to look up, perhaps I want to look up maybe a CVE or something like that. But again, I just wanted to make the case in here that this is all also available in the command line.
Yeah. But hang on, you just said something interesting there, which is what? You can just plug a CVE into GreyNoise and it can show you who's exploiting it. Show me that. That's
exactly.
Cool.
So that's the second use case that I'm going to talk about. It's actually the one that I'm like the most excited about. Who's exploiting what CVEs and where are they doing it from? So let's hop back here. Let's take the CVE for the recent Citrix bleed vulnerability. I think it's 2023-49.
That one might return a few results, Andrew.
Yeah, 401. So right now we are seeing 401 devices on the internet that are attempting to exploit this software vulnerability on everyone on the entire internet, right? So we can both see it here, but I can actually also drill down into it. So here, let's see. I can go, let me grab... Yeah, I can go into this trends page. I can actually see this activity over time as well, right? Yeah. So this is how I can see the ebbs and flows of this. I can export this. I can create an alert for this so that I can be emailed the second the activity goes from 0 to 1. I can look at the different integrations that we've got that I can select in here. And if I want to, I can copy and paste this URL literally directly into my firewall, and it will dynamically block all of these IPs for me.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah. So this is actually just a really nice to have kind of housekeeping feature that we've got to make it just super, super easy for people to block stuff.
Yeah. And do people often automate that?
Yeah. A lot of the time people automate that, especially honestly with stuff like, let's just say like an SSH brute forcer. This is your classic fail to ban sort of use case. So we've got an SSH brute forcer or something like that. I drill into this, and then I can go here. I can say grab at the firewall, and then I'll show you, like when I punch this in right here, it's literally a list of IPs, right? And so this is something that any firewall is going to be able to eat. Any Cisco, any Palo, any Juniper, like they're all going to be able to eat this stuff.
I mean, you look at because we're recording this in early December 2023, and we're still in the middle of this Citrix Bleed event, and I mean, is this going to 100% save you from getting your Citrix gear ransomware? Probably not, but
absolutely not.
But it's probably something you should do because it might. It has a good chance of. Because most of the exploitation of that, it was done en masse from probably a handful of IPs per crew. So, I mean, it could actually make a difference there. I mean, it's certainly something that I would be doing.
It quantifiably does reduce the amount of time that it's going to take for the thing to get popped. And it's also going to help you hunt down if it does. Right. So
I think you mean it's going to increase the time it'll take for the thing to get popped. You said decrease.
The likelihood day over day, increase the amount of time. That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's not going to get you owned quicker.
No, because that would be a really bad security product.
That wouldn't be a great product.
No, not even a little bit. So there's the last sort of, and look, again, this is the trends page that we've got right here. These are all of the things that we're seeing drastically increase or decrease at a given point in time. This is a TP-Link Archer AX21 command injection vulnerability. I don't know what this vulnerability is, but I know that it's on the up and up right now for some reason, right? So you can browse all these different tags. You can search it by CVE. You can search it by keyword. Really just makes it really, really easy. If we don't have a tag for something, you can go right here. You can request a tag. You can fill out this form. And basically, if we accept it, our research team will get on it.
Yeah.
So the last thing that I was going to show you, at least that's available really, really easily in this web interface is, look, let's say you've got a gazillion, actually there's two more things. You've got a gazillion things that you see that you want to enrich and you don't want to write a script to do it. So I'm just going to grab like a bunch of text from elsewhere on my screen and I'm going to paste it in here. There's free text that's mixed in with this. A lot of people have this feature, but basically you can use this to very, very quickly analyze large number of IPs and enrich those so that you don't have to do one interaction or an API call for every one of these. Again, it's housekeeping. It's just nice to have.
Yeah.
So then the last thing in this visualizer that I'm going to be showing you is basically how to figure out if you get popped and it shows up in GreyNoise, right? One of the worst things that can possibly happen is for you to get owned in a way that makes your computer try to own other people, right? That's really bad. So like, in
the example earlier that we were talking about, that Cisco device where someone who's scanning for open proxies, like if they found a vulnerable Cisco in your network, they're going to take it over. They're going to be using that to further propagate their attacks, right?
Exactly. So if I want to, I can really, really easily, we've got a GNQL alert here. I can create an alert that is literally, I'm just going to type a random 55.000/16, like a giant site or block, whatever, who cares? Type in my email address and I can say something super bad is happening and I can save this right here. Bang, I've got an alert. Now, if my IP ever shows up in GreyNoise or anything inside that range shows up in GreyNoise, I get an email.
Is that a free feature?
This is a free feature.
Wow. Yeah, I imagine quite a lot of people use that.
Yes, it's actually one of our most popular features.
Yeah.
And so these are the things that, honestly, these are the key things that you can do with GreyNoise really easily right now without talking to a single human being. You can just go to viz.greynoise.io. You can do a lot of this stuff without even creating an account. And then you do have to create an account to do some of these things. I do have Sift pulled up as well. To just show you guys what it actually looks like.
Sift is cool. It's something that we've talked about on the podcast before, but not everyone who's seeing this listens to the podcast. So, walk us through it, because this is like I think I've described it in the past as an annoyingly useful thing that you've done with large language models. Because I'm a bit of a LLM hater.
You're a hater. You're a huge LLM hater.
I'm a bar humbug. I'm an AI Scrooge, basically. So
was I until like 6 months ago. So
but this is cool. Show us.
So I've got the Sift pulled up. You can get here by just going to sift.labs.greynoise.io. You do have to log in. This thing's an end-day factory. Like, what Sift is doing is we're essentially surfacing net new traffic patterns that cross our entire fleet. And then we're using AI to annotate what they are And then we're further surfacing the more dangerous things. So basically, this is now public Sift is on a week delay. So that means what I'm seeing right here is a week old, right? But what we've got here from the latest 1129 is, and I cannot stress to you enough, this was all done by a computer. So all of this is happening day in, day out. We've got 147 Sifts from today. That means 147 net unique traffic patterns that GreyNoise has never, ever, ever seen crossed our sensor fleet today. The first one is called potential command injection exploit in glpi install.php. I have no idea what that is, but we're going to look at it. We've got a payload example right here. This is the actual payload of what we surfaced with just a couple of things censored out or redacted so that we can keep our sensors anonymized. This is a very
that is a rather malicious looking string there too.
Oh yeah, this is like Sift is like threat 10, 100% confident it's that, and in this case it was right.
Yeah.
So then we basically got a really brief analysis. This HTTP post request appears to be an exploit against blah, 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 right? So Sift is trying to guess what it is, right? We've got some keywords here that it's adding. We've got some CVEs that it's guessing. Now, this part really still needs work, so I wouldn't trust it blindly. And then here's one of my favorite pieces. It generated a suricata signature for us. Now, like I said, it is not fantastic at generating rules yet, but this is a better place to start than just having to go from scratch, right? And so this is essentially just a really quick write-up of, look, this is what happened. This is what we think it is. It's never happened before. Maybe you care about it. Maybe you don't. Here's a rule that'll get you started.
Yeah, and that's so if you want that in real time, then we're talking about a paid feature, right?
Exactly. So this is where I would have to go to the internal Sift, which is, this is all the stuff that we're seeing right now. This is the most log4j looking log4j I've ever seen in my life. And we've even got in the paid version, we've got snarky little comments in here that the AI makes jokes.
Nice.
This is actually really funny. And then, so, I mean, basically we've got this. You can also download all of the signatures that we've ever generated. And like I said in here, you can page through these. So this is the next one. Also looks very, very bad. This is the next one. Also extremely bad. So, I mean, this thing just really craps out end-day software vulnerabilities and stuff that we're seeing. And I mean, it's insane, the stuff that we're seeing. We're cutting internally, we're cutting like 50 tickets a day on things for our research team to put into production. I don't think we're very far from being able to have it be unattended.
Yeah, and previously, we spoke about this, and what was interesting to me is that what Sift is good at is finding stuff that human analysts would miss, which is kind of like not what you would expect from an automated process, but it works. Yeah, it works really well.
It works really well. So this is still something that we're putting the bow on and we're integrating into the broader GreyNoise, but this is something that I'm really excited about. We've got a lot of customers that are using it with great success.
But ultimately, if you want to see what's happening on the internet at scale at any moment, like, you've got this window and you've got visibility through GreyNoise into all of that, right? Like that is at the core of the product, which is what's happening on the internet. That's
exactly right. We've got sensors that we've rolled out as well, which basically help us figure out what's going on your network. And so that's also something I'm really excited about, because the dream is that we can give you a sift of what's happening to your network, right? Instead of just what's crossing everybody, we can also tell you, hey, this happened to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I think you're actually going to show us a sensor deployment, aren't you?
I can do that. Yeah, here, let me grab my terminal here real quick. Clear my screen, and
maybe explain what this is that you're doing.
Yeah. So for years, customers have been asking us to be able to deploy their own GreyNoise sensors, right? That is much harder to do than we originally anticipated. So it's taken us a while to actually develop that technology.
And why would they want their own GreyNoise sensors?
Honestly, because of a few reasons, but they're all going to boil down to, I want to know what's hitting my perimeter, but not by the process of elimination. I don't want to have visibility of all this telemetry from all these places and then use a SIM integration to reduce a bunch of stuff. I just want to know who's hitting me, right? That's use case number
No, that
one.
makes sense. That makes sense. Instead of having to send it off to the seam thing and get the people to write the rules that do the correlation and have the arguments in the meetings, just actually put exactly.
Just shove the thing out there, right? Like just shove the thing out there. Tell me what hits it, right? So that's the first use case. And then the second use case is basically, I want to know who's exploiting some random bug, right? And so that means you don't have to run it on your perimeter. You might just want to run it at home, or you might want to run it in the cloud, right? Like you're going to want to know who's exploiting a piece of software that you care about, right? Not one that we care about, one that you care about.
So you're talking about when you're setting up a sensor, what profile you make it, right? And if it's something slightly obscure and you don't have great coverage of it, like the user can have their own. Yep.
Exactly.
But it also plugs into all of GreyNoise's analysis and everything, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to basically SSH into this brand new machine. This is a vanilla DigitalOcean machine that I just spun up. Oh God. Let me make sure that I've actually got my key set up.
Did you sacrifice the goat? Like, what's going on?
I actually think that... Oh, I knew the problem here. Hang on, I can fix this real quick. So,
all right.
Let's see. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to tease you mercilessly about this for quite a long time.
Yeah,
Andrew.
that's all right.
I hope you understand.
So I forgot that I didn't have my SSH key set up on this box yet. So hopped over to another one. And cool, here I am. It's a vanilla Linux server. There's nothing installed on this thing. It literally went up hang on, I can tell you. It went up less than an hour ago. So, I mean, this box has not been up for a long time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop right back over here and I'm going to grab this installation command. Okay, this is just a single command that's basically going to essentially turn anything into a GreyNoise sensor. And then I'm just going to paste it right here. And this is happening in real time. So we're not actually really installing almost any software. All it's doing is making sure that we've got the right IP tables package, making sure that we've got the right WireGuard bindings, and then that's it. And then essentially we're turning this box into a device that sucks in packets over every port, every protocol, and then it sprays them over to GreyNoise through an encrypted tunnel where we're able to actually make the sensor look like whatever we want. So I've got this new sensor.
I mean, that's something to note, right? Which is that it's all, like with GreyNoise, all the sensors, I mean, they're not really sensors. They're just like little collection agents that forward everything to various data centers where you've got your gubbins.
Exactly. So now we can see it's done. So it took maybe 1 minute to turn into a GreyNoise sensor. Again, no software is installed on it. It gives me a new management port that I can go into to be able to access it, which is randomized. And when we go back here, you can see we've got a new sensor called Kind Moose, and it is using the default persona, right? Now, the default persona, actually, if I bring my terminal back, the default persona essentially means that, we've actually got, I need to grab my sensor IP again, and then I'm going to basically just nmap this bad boy. Let's see what it looks like. Now, my guess is, okay, cool. So we've more or less got nothing open. 53 is open by default. You got to fix that. So let's go
because you used quick and lazy nmap, it didn't find your SSH port on 6.3.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So now I actually can change the persona, which is what the thing looks like it's running. Now, this is actually really cool because whatever I select from here, it is actually, that software is going to be running. It's just not running on this box. It's running on our box, so it can't hurt you, right? So let's do a Hikvision IP camera, right? There's been a lot of stuff in the news about Hikvisions getting exploited, and so let's do that. So now I just set this over here. Now, it is spinning up an actual copy of the Hikvision software in a data center somewhere. So it takes a second to go up, and this is fresh off the press, so we don't have the progress mark over here right now, but I'm going to give it I'm going to basically keep biding time until we see this bad boy going up.
You should tap dance.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little dance. But it's important to note that basically what's going on here is that we, on the GreyNoise side, are spinning up an actual copy of that software that can actually be compromised, right? And some can, some can't. We have shallow clones of some. We have real interactive copies of other. It just depends, right? And essentially, we're spinning that up. We're forwarding packets from the attacker to your sensor, which are then going through that WireGuard tunnel, never really touching the kernel. So those packets are really never actually talking to your machine. They're going straight from the machine through that WireGuard tunnel to our gateway, and then they're being passed from our gateway to the copy of the software, where we then do whatever the thing needs to do. And we hand the responses all the way back, and we're capturing everything every step of the way. So now I have no idea if this is going to come back or not.
Be ready, yeah. Let's see.
Because it's the demo gods, but let's see.
I mean, we believe you that this works, but it might take more than a minute.
It might take more than a minute. We'll find out. So we're doing a cheeky little scan. Oh my goodness gracious. It looks good. So
yeah,
we got some results. Let's open it up in the browser and we've got ourselves a Hikvision camera login page right here. And then look, we can go back. We can add, we can change it to whatever we want. Maybe I want a sonic wall. Sure. I can hit that and it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to take a few minutes. While it's doing that, go over here to, we've got a persona menu of all of the things that we currently have personas for that we've set up on our side. And we've got a request persona feature where you can go and you can basically just tell us what you want, right? And this is something that, because it takes human work, we're probably not going to do unless you're a customer. And then we've got, right now, all of the analysis, we're still connecting all the pipes and tubes to get these new sensors integrated in with our existing fleet that all the customers are using. But I can actually crack open any of these sensors that I've already got. And I can basically say, hey, either like as a stopgap to at least get you access to your own data, we let you basically export, download your own PCAP. So in this case, I want the last 24 hours of PCAP from this one random sensor that I just picked. Great, that's done. Hit download. Stellar, it came back. Crack this bad boy.
And you can pull that into your tool of choice for
exactly.
analysis.
So I'm going to drill into it. Oops, Windows cannot open this. Oh, I know why. It's because it's still what do you call it? It's still in the it's still encrypted. Yeah, and then I can, and I crack this bad boy open, and we've got ourselves some PCAP.
Nice.
So all that we're really doing here for the PCAP feature is we really just needed to have some way of getting your data back to you while we're hooking up all those different analytics that we want to do with it. The game is fundamentally very different for us with our old classic sensors versus these new ones. It's also important to note that the sensor can't, we're still enabling users. Sometimes people want the sensor to be able to be compromised, and sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes they want it to be able to actually get popped, and sometimes they don't. So we're still connecting everything together to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why that would be useful in some cases. If you've got something that's difficult to put detection in front of for whatever reason, you can spin up a GreyNoise sensor near it, have the same personality, and if that one gets owned, well, you could be pretty sure that the real one got owned as well. So, I mean, it's ugly, but I mean, that's just how it be in some enterprises, right? So I can understand why some people would want that, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've got some customers who are basically trying to see post-exploitation, right of boom traffic that's going on. And then we've got others that are just super sensitive to bug bounty hunters and, third-party risk firms. And they're like, ooh, don't do anything that makes me look bad. And so we want to make sure that we're really making the experience as sort of customized to the customer as possible.
Yeah, and I imagine it would be easier to pull, and that's another one that I didn't think of, but that post-compromise, traffic, that might be easier to pull out of a GreyNoise sensor because it's already set up to look for that.
Exactly.
Whereas
and
if you're trying to do it,
our sensors have no business value. So we don't have to sort through all of the user logs and the user behavior and the legitimate usage. There is no legitimate usage. So anything that happens on a GreyNoise sensor is probably bad.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I think that's basically it for our demo today, though, isn't it, Andrew?
That's it. That's all of the functionality that we've got available right now. We're cooking up some other really, really cool stuff that's going to be coming out here pretty soon. But this is all the stuff that I've got to demo you today.
And to be clear, most of what you showed us today is free. If you pay, you get access to more timely data, and you also get API access, right?
You get
so you
API
can do a lot
access.
more automation.
We do, after you use GreyNoise too egregiously, we do gently rate limit you off. Those rate limits don't exist for customers. You can use
so you can get API access free, can you?
only GreyNoise community API, which is basically stripped down. It's only got like 4 of those fields, whereas the enterprise API is literally everything that I just showed you.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to show us through all of that. I think what you built here is extremely cool. And it was great to actually get a walkthrough of the whole thing. Andrew Morris, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Patrick. I always have a great time doing this anytime, any place.